Good evening. I'm your host, Patrick Murphy, and welcome to On Track. Hi, and welcome to our 14th season of On Track. I'm your host, Patrick Murphy, and today with us we have Bear with Hawk Fist. So, could you tell us a little bit how your name came to be?
Sure. I'm not a very patient person, and I had a bunch of songs written a couple of years back, and I wanted to put them online, and I didn't have a band name or a name for myself. So every name that I Googled, to make sure, before I took it, I wanted to make sure no one else had it, and all the names were taken. Like any kind of cool idea that I thought I had, it was already gone. So I'm like, Bear with Hawkfist, there cannot be a Bear with Hawkfist out there. And I Googled it, and there was none, so I was able to post those songs. So instead of waiting a day and coming up with a cooler name, being in a hurry and anxious to get the songs online, I just came up with a goofy name that I'll probably regret.
Well, all right then. So, can you tell us a little bit about your musical background, how long you've been playing, what you play, that kind of stuff?
Sure. I've played guitar, a normal 6 and 7 string guitar, for about 30 years. And in the 90s, early 90s, I played in a couple punk bands. I played in a lot of bands. Some acoustic folk type stuff, some punk, some hard rock stuff. And about the last 10 years, I've been a solo artist, just playing by myself under the name Bear with Hawkfist. When I initially started, I really didn't think that you could just play, I play a diddly bow, which is a one-string instrument. And I didn't think that you could just play that. I figured if you're going to play out, you have to sing and play guitar. And so that's what I started doing, and I'm a horrible singer. So after a year of being really, really nervous on stage because my voice was so terrible, I said, screw it. And started playing instrumental music. I've always been a fan of instrumental music, so it just seemed like a good fit.
All right. So have you ever been, what was the longest set band you've ever been a part of?
Well, I have two bands. In 1993, I was asked to join a band called the Almighty Militant Tequila Brothers. We were kind of a pop-punk band, and I was with them for maybe 5 years or so. And the next lengthy band I was in was a band called Last Year's Man, which was kind of a hard rock, borderline heavy metal band. And I was with them for about 6 years also. And then in between there were a lot of just weird two-piece things, but those would be the two longest, the Tequila Brothers and Last Year's Man.
So, with the music, what kind of music do you like to listen to yourself in your free time?
I don't know. Everybody always says that I listen to everything, but I really do. In my car right now, I'm listening to the Subhumans, some punk from the early 80s. I like jazz. I'm a big fan of Jaco Pastorius. My all-time favorite musician is a guy named John Fahey, an instrumental acoustic guitarist. He kind of defined the genre of American primitive. I like to think what I do is on the primitive side. But I really do listen to everything.
All right then. So, let's go to one of your songs now.
Sure.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Kids will spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Every child is curious. George, look what I found. Turn their curiosity into a lifelong love of learning.
That's a periscope.
It's one of the most important gifts you can share. Create a curious reader.
Oh, you want to build a castle like that one? This is super bedtime reading.
Share a book together today. Visit read.gov.
Hi, welcome back to On Track. With us today, if you're just tuning in, is Bear with Hawk Fist. So, tell us a little bit about your instrument that you play.
Well, there it is. It's called the diddley bow. I believe it's one of the early predecessors to the guitar. It's an African instrument. A lot of very famous bluesmen started playing something. They looked somewhat similar to this, just because it was super easy to make. You'd get a 2x4, some wire from a broom, a bottle, and the next thing you know, you're making music. So I wanted to make something that was roadworthy, you know, that I could play out. And you know, a 2x4 with a bottle, you know, that's not going to last very long. So it's on the durable side. It's 2 pieces of wood glued and screwed together, piezo pickup, and that's pretty much it. It's a very, very simple instrument.
So, do you make these yourself, or can you find these somewhere?
I think if you, I build my own, but I know you can go on Etsy. People make them. eBay people sell them. They're not made commercially, but yeah, if you go online, every one of their mother's making one.
So, what do you feel is more unique about this that separates it from other string instruments that you like about it?
Well, it's minimal. It's simple. Having played guitar for nearly 30 years, it just was a nice point in my life to change it up and try something different. So I don't know. I don't know that it's very unique. You know, it's just like if you took a guitar and threw it in a dryer, that's what you have.
So what kind of music would you play with this kind of instrument?
Well, primarily people, if you go on YouTube and search diddley bow, people are playing the blues on it. That's pretty much it. I think what I'm trying to do is play something other than the blues on it. I mean, that's pretty much all you'll see online is people playing the blues. I tried to come up with contemporary compositions on it, but it's primarily a blues instrument.
So as you compose your own music, do you try to focus more on this, or is it more whatever comes to mind?
Just whatever comes to mind, whatever I'm feeling. These are instrumental songs that I'm writing, but they all come from a thought or a feeling. After my last divorce, I had a lot of feelings, as you'd probably imagine, and you sit around and you feel like garbage, and you just start playing something, and all of a sudden it's an audio interpretation of that feeling that you have.
So do you still have your first one you ever made, or?
Yeah, I do. Everything else since then, it's loosely based on that first one. I don't really play it anymore. I feel like I've gotten better at building them, but I still do have that first one.
So did you sell these at any point, or was it more of just a hobby of yours?
Yeah. For a while, me and my dad had an online store. My dad was building cigar box guitars, and those are primarily 3- and 4-string instruments. And I didn't like it. When you Google cigar box guitar, everybody's kind of looked the same. My dad's look different, but my dad's a much more talented builder than me. So I wanted to, come up with something goofy. And when you're building a 3-string instrument, things matter like scale length, so that it's intonated. With 1 string, there's no way you could screw it up. So I thought that would be a good starting point for me, something that I couldn't screw up. So that's pretty much how I came up with it.
Yeah. So when you play at other gigs, is this something that your audience members like to focus on after your performance, or is it more just like a wow?
Up until my last gig, I've never even mentioned it. I didn't like the idea of it being a novelty, like, hey, I'm this goofy guy playing a 2x4, because I'm serious about the music I do. So it really wasn't until the last show that I played at Reggie's a couple months ago, and after my first or second song, I talked to the audience a lot, and I opened the floor to questions, and that was the first time someone had asked me about it.
So can you talk a little more about the songs we're going to hear?
Sure. I'm going to be playing a song called Lights Out Berwyn. That was a song that initially had words. I was singing it, and it's got a much different feel playing an instrumental version of it. The lyrics of Lights Out Berwyn were kind of an instructional how to kill yourself, but a very, very precise way to do it. So I guess I was not feeling very good when I wrote that song. But as an instrumental version, it sounds kind of happy, so that's one of the ones you'll be hearing tonight.
All right, cool. So let's take it away to hear one of these songs from him.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay, so who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311.
Cinderella found the pet that fits her perfectly, and you can too. Share your heart, share your love. Make a shelter pet part of your world. Happily Ever After begins at theshelterpetproject.org.
Hi, and welcome back to On Track. I'm your host, Patrick Murphy. Today we are here with Bear with Hawk Fist. So, can you tell us where we can find you on the internet or social media?
Sure. Yeah, if you Google Bear with Hawk Fist, you'll probably find a bunch of things. I'm on Facebook. I have some albums available on noisetrade.com. So noisetrade.com/Bear with Hawk Fist. I have a couple of full lengths, a couple of EPs, I think some singles. I have, if you come to a show, I have physical CDs too, but nobody really wants physical nowadays.
So what is one of the most interesting gigs you've ever performed at, or at least your favorite?
One of my favorite gigs, I got to open twice for Grant Hart from Husker Du, which is a pretty legendary punk band, and Grant Hart passed a couple months ago, and he was kind of, my experience with him was he was kind of an angry person, and I took it as a very high compliment that he talked to me and that he was cordial with me. So opening for Grant Hart twice was a pretty important thing for me. And if I was going to say my next favorite show, there's a country artist out of Baltimore, Sean Preston. I got to open up for him, and he was an amazing artist. I didn't really deserve to be on the same stage as him, but Sean Preston, you guys should check him out.
So, as a musician, at what point in your life did you realize that music is what you wanted to do?
I don't know. I don't know that I ever decided. I just did it. I just did it. Sometimes I pushed it harder than others, but it wasn't even really a choice. It was just something I have to do. Like if you're thirsty, you drink something. You know, I didn't really think about it. But probably when I started playing guitar, so that would have been like 8th grade.
There you go. All right, so we're going to take a listen to one of your last pieces, an improv piece. Can you talk about that a little bit?
For me, I've always wanted to be able to improvise. You know, I come from the background of playing punk songs or rock songs where everything is very formulaic. You know, you play it the same way twice all the time. And I've always wanted to improvise. I'm by no means even good at it, but it's exciting to start and head that direction. I've never done that before, so.
All right, here we go with Bear with Hawk Fist's last piece for us. Thank you for joining us on Track, and a special thanks to our guest, Bear with Hawk Fist. We'll see you next week.